let's see if we've got this. Off, on. Yes. Okay, I think I'm good. Let's try this. Hello, Shadowcat back with more Pokemon, with more Pathfinder, more Starfinder, more making games. And it's been a morning. You ever have one of those days where, like, not only does everything go wrong, but every single time you try to fix something, it only makes the problem worse. And so every single thing that you do is just absolutely counterproductive and everything just snowballs. That's been my morning so far. The fact that I'm even here is nothing short of a divine miracle. But I'm here, everything seems to be working. I think we're ready to go. Think being the operative word there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this started. Before I do that, of course, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat, which is just JP right now. So hello, JP. It's good to see you. JP said the four-letter bad word that starts with S, and so JP, you're getting put in timeout. Because I can do that. I can do that. I can click on this button right here, and I can put you in a timeout. So you're in timeout now. We don't use the four-letter S word, not in my chat. All right, so getting back into this, the last time we were here, we worked on the new catching system. And we've got it almost all worked out. The catching system in Pokemon is very complicated and completely unusable for us. So we actually went through and built our own. We'll go over that real quick. And then we're going to go through and continue what we were doing. Every single ball has some kind of advantage to it, and we're going to start modifying those to suit our needs, because the original Pokeballs use multipliers, we're going to use additives. So yeah, we're going to do that. And since I do not believe that the catching system is going to take us like the entire time I usually have allotted for these streams, either we're going to go down a lot of rabbit holes, or we're going to take a look at a few other smaller things along the way, like items. Things that I don't think we're going to need to do anything for, but we'll look at them anyway just to make sure. So before we get into that, though... Oh, right, and I forgot. I need to go back here so that actually updates, because things work weird. If I don't have this window up, the chat on screen does not actually cycle, and so... yeah. It's not exactly great. But alright, before we get into it, obviously, the plug. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that. Make sure you hit the bell icon when you do, otherwise, you know, how will you know when I'm doing this, aside from the fact that I do it at the same time every day and every week? The universe may never know. Otherwise, though, if you know somebody else who's also into Pokemon or Pathfinder, Starfinder, tabletop gaming in general, share this stream out. They'll either enjoy this one, or they'll enjoy my past streams, or they'll enjoy my future streams. But if they like gaming at all, they should enjoy this, especially if they're into game development. Like, I play with spreadsheets. My streams are not for everybody, but anybody who is a game developer will appreciate my streams. So, like, take a niche audience and then make it even more niche. Sure, why not? If you want to leave a like on the video, you can. If you want to leave a comment down below, you can do that too. Otherwise, though, if you're going to go through all the effort to leave a comment, might I suggest go ahead and join the Discord. We have a Discord. It's there. There's people there. We share memes. Memes are fun. Also, if you wanted to play with us, my suggestion is to go ahead and join the Behind the Screen channel. Let me know what games you want to play, what your availability is. As soon as I have enough people, we will begin playing. So, hope to see you there, and barring that, let's just go ahead and get started. So to do this, of course, we're going to need to have our browser. And we'll need to have our spreadsheet. And JP says, okay, hard water is falling. I don't care about the mineral content of the water. You said a bad word. Coincidentally, it's also raining here for me. I mean, I literally just heard the rain starting to come down as I was getting the stream going. It's actually just rain, though. There's nothing terrible about it. It's getting cold, though. I hate winter. Least favorite season. I mean, what's your favorite season? You let me know down in the chat. What's your favorite season? Me? I'm summer. Like, I could do summer all year long. Which I suppose means I should just, like, move to the equator, but I don't really want to move. Besides that, there's not too many places that are, like, on the equator. The only places that are on the equator would be Northern Africa, and I think... No, the equator goes through the South China Sea. So, no, not even part of... The only parts of the equator would be, like, Central America, like in the Panama area, I think. Maybe Ecuador? Or Northern Africa. And I'm not living in either one of those. So, yeah, that's just not happening. JP says fall is the favorite. Everything is getting cold, though. The temperature is dropping. I hate cold. I can't do the cold. Okay, so, getting into Pokemon. We're going to get back to our catching system and start looking at this. So, the catching system is going to be a little complicated, but the nice thing about this is that it's only going to be complicated on the GM side, which is fine. It can be as complicated as it needs to be on the GM side, so long as it's all done, like, ahead of time. So, when we went through and did this, obviously Pokeballs will be available. I will figure out prices for them later on because the prices do fluctuate a little bit, but it's not important. What we did go through is, once you got your Pokeballs, we went through the rules for actually retrieving and using them. So everyone will have a belt that will hold their Pokeballs. Everybody can have 6 active Pokemon at any given time, but you are allowed to have as many Pokemon on you as you want. You can have a backpack filled with Pokemon if that's your desire. However, that means that you'll have to prepare, kind of like a wizard would do. You'll have to prepare your Pokemon the same way a wizard would prepare their spells. And failing to do so means that you might need to recover a different Pokemon in combat, and we have rules for that now. Essentially, it's going to be a perception DC to find a Pokeball as a move action or a standard action, depending on which system you're using. The DC is going to be a base of 5, which is easy, but it's a +1 per Pokeball in your backpack. So if you have only one Pokeball in your backpack, that means it's pretty easy to grab the right Pokeball. It's the only other one there. If you're carrying 50 Pokeballs in your backpack, yeah, good luck. It's pretty much not going to happen. Obviously, this only applies in combat. Out of combat, you have all the time in the world to sit down and go through your Pokeballs. You can pick out whichever ones you need, and that's how you prepare your team for the day. We're talking about just in combat, under pressure. So, we went through that. Otherwise, the actual catch rate for Pokemon. So, when we went through the catch rate for Pokemon before, there are so very many complicated systems for calculating this, and we're not doing it. We're not even adapting it. Instead, every Pokemon is going to have a capture DC. Now, that DC is going to be comprised of raw numbers. There's no base level to this. The base level is 0. Kinda, sorta. What I mean by that is the actual base is essentially going to be their level, and it's going to be very similar to the same system we use for a lot of things. It's their level divided by 5 rounded down, which means that catching low-level Pokemon should be pretty easy. It's also going to be their hit points, okay? It's their current HP divided by their max HP multiplied by 20, also rounded down, which means that if their HP is full, okay, then full HP divided by full HP is 1 times 20. It's a plus 20, which is going to be really hard to actually hit, and so you'll want to weaken the Pokemon first. Then, once you add in their levels, catching a wild Pokemon at level 100 at full HP is a base DC of 40. Is it possible? Sure. It's not likely, but it's possible. Let's see. And... that's not updating. Weird. Anyway, JP says, and it's not updating on the screen for some reason, fall is harvest season, time of plenty, mosquitoes are gone, Halloween, kids are back in school, grass stops growing, comfortable temps, new seasons of everything on TV. I mean, okay. I mean, I do like harvest season. I'm all for that. Mosquitoes? Honestly, never really had much of a problem with mosquitoes. Mosquitoes don't really like me that much. Let's see. Halloween. Halloween's fine. I never do too much for Halloween. Kids are back in school. I don't have kids, so I don't get the benefit from that one. Grass stops growing. I don't know. I look out the window right now, and I look at the grass, and it's like the grass needs to be mowed again. When are you supposed to stop mowing the grass? I feel like there's like a temperature limit or something where you're supposed to stop mowing the grass. I'm not sure. Comfortable temps. I prefer the heat, so yeah. And new seasons of everything on TV. Like, I can't remember the last time I actually watched something on TV. I have a TV and I haven't turned it on in weeks. Maybe months. I'm not sure. JP says catching a wild Pokemon just means it was on spring break. I mean, depends on what you catch it doing. Okay, so anyway, level 100, max HP, DC of 40, and it gets easier from there the more you fight it. Now, again, if it's like a level 100 Pokemon, that resistance, that base DC right there that can't change, that would still be 20. So you're really going to want to lower the HP as much as you possibly can to have the best shot. Status effects are going to need to be tweaked. Right now, it's a -1 per status. And if we come back to the status effects, there are kind of a lot of them. You will never be able to implement or to hit them with all of these status effects at once. I mean, some of them you literally just can't hit them with because they're like beneficial, but that's regardless. You could try to stack up a whole bunch of status effects. It's possible. It would actually work well in your favor. But I don't know the kind of setup that you would need to do it. So we'll just let that ride, and if it needs to be upped, we can do that. If I need to make it like a -2 per status effect, we can do that when we play test. So that's going to be the DC for them. And then on the other side, the catch rate for trainers, it's essentially going to be just a D20 roll, which is why, you know, if the DC is over 20, it's going to be really hard to get that. However, badges. We went over this briefly. The fact of the matter is that pretty much whatever world that we play in, whether we are playing a typical Pokemon, you know, go through the Pokemon League game, or if we're having a Pokemon adventure that is not Pokemon League related, those gyms will still exist. And because they still exist, you'll still be able to get badges. And since that's an option, every badge that you collect will give you a +2 to your catch rate. Now, they're all in the game, they also make it so certain level Pokemon will obey you, which prevents power leveling. I don't feel the need to do that. I mean, I can understand in the game why it's needed. We don't need to worry about that in ours, though, because Pokemon will, number one, always obey you, and number two, you're not really going to be able to power level the same way you can level grind in a game. Technically, you could, but it's going to take a long time, and it's not really going to be cost-effective for you. So, we don't have to worry about that. Instead, the badges will just give you a +2 catch rate per badge. There's 8 badges. It's a +16 if you get all of them, and it's great. And Sky is in here. Hello, Sky. Good to see you this morning. Alright, so after that we got to work on balls, because the way the balls work, and I've got it up on the screen right now, is these all use multipliers. Again, because the catch rate is so incredibly complicated, it's just... It's ridiculously awful for our part. So instead, what we've got here is Pokeballs are just a 1 times, Great Balls are nothing, Ultra Balls are 2. I gave the Pokeballs a +1 on their catch modifier. I could have made that a +0. In fact, I might. It's a +0 now. It's just a Pokeball. You throw it at something and you hope that it catches. Great Balls are going to be a +2. Ultra Balls will be a +4. So they should be worth your time. Master Balls do not have a special modifier because they just catch everything. It says here it only fails against unidentified ghosts. The ghost Marowak, Curem when under guest control, and Nihilego at the Aether Paradise. I don't even know what any of those are. I'm relatively certain it's nothing we need to worry about. So Master Balls just catch. Safari Balls are literally just regular Pokeballs, so it's a regular Pokeball, but it's, you know, just a different color. Fastballs. I said only on water, and I don't know why. Because I feel like that's in the wrong place. That should be like the water ball or something. Or a dive ball. I don't know. Well, let's look at it then. Fastball. Where is it? So, okay. A fastball. It's a ×4 if only used... Or only if used on Magnemite, Grimer, and Tangela. Or ×4 if used on a Pokemon with a base speed of at least 100. Yeah, so I don't know why this is here. Okay, so I'm going to use some of these multipliers to our advantage. So for example, the Ultra Ball up here is a ×2. This Fastball is a ×4. Well, if the ×2 I made into a +4, then a Fastball should probably be like a +8. Okay? And this only on water thing, go away. Instead, we need to do a translation here. So, only if using a Pokemon with a base speed of at least 100. Well, our Pokemon don't have a speed that high. And so, since speed, I do believe, translates directly into dexterity. Let's take a look. Yes. Strength is attack, speed is dexterity. So, instead, what I will need to do is figure out what does 100 mean for us. Now, I believe, the maximum for any of these is 255. But let's take a look. So these are stats. We can raise various stats. They have base stats. Yes, yes, yes. I want to say that the highest is 255, but I want to make sure that I have this right before I do any kind of numbers. So, where would it be? Let's do a search. I'm just going to search for max. Effort values. No. Let's see. A Pokemon can gain a maximum of 252 EVs in a single stat. That's interesting, but... let's see. Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Go power bonus can range. I don't care about a power bonus. I just want to look at their base stats. That's Magikarp Jump. I don't see a number in here. This is going to be less than helpful. Okay, then let's think. What if we make an assumption? Because I'm pretty sure that the highest stat is going to be 255, because that's just how these numbers work. If that were the case, if I look at our system also pegs out at about 25. I think. Was that the way it worked? Let's see. We have base stats. They get 1 point to spend every level, which means that they have... JP says, less than helpful, my Pokemon knowledge. That's fair. That's also my Pokemon knowledge. But that's alright. We're working through it. If I get my calculator out here, 100 divided by 6 is going to be 16. Plus some extra, which means that roughly we can put 16 points into all of these. It doesn't necessarily tell me what the highest levels are going to be, though, because, like, looking at our example Aegislash over here, who is only level 89, by the way, we have some stats here that are almost 30. And so I'm not exactly sure what to do with this. Okay. I think the first thing I need to do when I'm trying to define this, I need to determine exactly what I mean by speed. Do we want to look at like their dexterity score, or do we want to look at like their actual speed? Technically speaking, when they say speed in Pokemon, they're essentially talking about their initiative, because whoever has the higher speed gets to go first. And that's literally the only thing that it affects, as far as I know. It might affect a few moves as well. I'm not positive on that. But it's more or less just their initiative, which is why I go back and say it should be their dexterity. If I were to look at... Ooh, actually, hold on a second. Hold on. I just had a moment. I had a moment of brilliance. Speedball. It gets a bonus based on their speed, right? Their dexterity already has a bonus. It's literally the modifier for it. What if we made the bonus simply equal to the target's dexterity modifier? Meaning that if you were to pour all of your points into your Pokemon's speed, which would be its dexterity, you would get a huge bonus throwing a fastball against it. I think that's brilliant. So if that Pokemon has like a 30 in its dexterity, you're like, holy crap, it's so fast, I can't even hit it. Oh, wait, if I throw a ball at it, the ball is going to get like a +8. This is brilliant. This is super simple. Fastball, it's not a +8. It's a plus the target dex modifier. Well, there we go. Okay. Next. Level ball. Okay. So the level ball, right here, it's a ×1 if the Pokemon is the same level or lower than the wild Pokemon. It's a ×2 if they're at a higher level, but less than double, and a ×4 if they are more than double, but less than 4 times the level of a wild Pokemon, and 8 times if their level is 4 times. I'm fine with that. We just need to simply adjust our numbers. So, for example, like a Pokeball is a +0, the Great Ball is a +2, the Ultra Ball is a +4. That means that this would be essentially a 0, 4, 8, and 16. Which are, you know, huge, but I think we can work on this. So it's going to be per rules plus 0, 2, 8, no, 0, 4, 8, and 16. There we go. And I mean, let's be honest, like, a +16 means that you're almost guaranteed to catch whatever it is that you're throwing it at. But in order to get that +16, you have to be more than 4 times or 4 or more times the level of a wild Pokemon. So let's think about exactly what are the situations for that. The situations would be, if your Pokemon is level 100, the highest level you could use a level ball and get the +16 modifier would be level 25 or less. Quite frankly, I mean, the only reason to use a level ball against a Pokemon of that level is because you literally don't have any moves that you can use against it without killing it. So, yeah. That's just going to be how that works. Alright, so we'll move on to the next one. A lure ball. What does the lure ball do? So in Scarlet Violet, it's a ×4 if used against a Pokemon in or on the water. Super simple, like a fishing lure. Okay, ×4 is going to be a +8, actually, because I guess we're actually just doubling these now that I think about it. So it's a +8, but only on water. So yeah, that was the one we had to use that for. A moon ball. Do we have a moon ball? No, next is heavy ball. Okay, heavy ball, where was it? Right here, it's down here. Heavy ball. So it is a -20 if used in a Pokemon weighing less than this. However, like, here's the thing. This is all super complicated, and I don't want to use this. Also, PC is here. Hello, PC. PC says, throw it out, and just starts saying, here, Pokemon. Here, Pokemon. I've got candy. Get in the van. I don't want to use this because this is convoluted, finicky, and niche. I don't want to. I want to instead use sizes. Here's what we're going to do. Most Pokemon are going to be medium size regardless. But one of the things that we have going for us is the fact that if we come back here and look at our Pokemon conversion, size. Our size is by height or weight, whichever is greater. Now that means that if you have a heavy Pokemon, like super heavy, you should automatically fall into a larger weight category just by virtue of the numbers. That being said, we can simplify this. So, it's going to be a... how do we want to do this? This just says a straight up -20. However, we use multipliers on these. I gotta think about this. In fact, not only do I need to think about this, I may actually need to make some space here. I may need to make some space. So I'm going to format painter these. Just to make sure that I've got that. And here we go. So this is going to be A. In fact, I know how many spots I'm going to need. This is going to be... Hold on, I gotta remember all these. Let's see, I need to go to... the SRD, and I need to look up all my sizes, because I don't remember them. Combat, Space Reach. This is the listing that we need. So, find a miniature, tiny, small, medium, large, huge, gargantuan, colossal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need one more space. There we go. Okay. So, if fine, if diminutive, did I spell that right? No, there's no A. Diminutive. If tiny, if small, if medium, if large, if huge, if gargantuan, if colossal. And I gotta format paint that again. There we go. Alright, now, all we gotta do is just fill in the numbers. Obviously, if it's a medium size, it is a +0. And then, we're just gonna go ahead and start adding stuff in. So this is going to be a -2, a -4, a -8, and a -16. Because this is a heavy ball for catching heavy Pokemon, the lighter it gets, the worse it should be. We'll do the same in the opposite direction. +2, +4, +8, +16. So, if you happen to find a colossal Pokemon, use a heavy ball. Also, don't get stepped on. Okay? Because I guarantee you get stepped on by a colossal Pokemon, it will be the end of your trip. Okay, moving on. A Love Ball. So, a Love Ball is, and I need to go to the definition that actually works for us, so Scarlet Violet. ×8, only if using a Pokemon of the same species as, but opposite gender of, the player's Pokemon. That is so incredibly specific. So it is going to be a plus 16. However, I'm just going to say C rules, because I don't want to write that down. Okay, a friend ball. A friend ball literally gets nothing. It's just a plus 0. A moon ball. So in the original one, it was always a ×1 due to a glitch. However, it is a ×4 only if used on Pokemon in the Nidoran, Clefairy, whatever. No. ×4 only if used in a Nidorina, Nidorino, Clefairy, Jigglypuff, Skitty, and Munna. This is awfully specific. I mean, this is awfully specific. Moonball was introduced in Gen 2. It can be used to catch wild Pokemon, being more likely to succeed against Pokemon that evolved by using a Moonstone. Again, why? Why would you make something so incredibly niche? In the core game series, it looks like you can't even buy them. I'm reading, I'm looking. However, so it says here there is a description for it in Scarlet Violet and ZA, but we don't count ZA. A somewhat different Pokeball that is more effective when catching Pokemon that can be evolved using a Moonstone. I mean, sure, fine, whatever. It's so niche, nobody's ever gonna use this. But fine, whatever. +8 C rules. I don't understand. Sport Ball. Who doesn't love Sport Ball? It's just a different kind of Pokeball. So, sure. +0. Okay, a net ball. Fortunately, it's right here. So it is a ×3, actually ×3.5, but only if the target is a bug or water type Pokemon. Okay, so kind of similar to the Lure Ball. +3, since we're just multiplying these, it's going to be a +6, but only if bug or water type. I mean, that's super simple. Nest Ball. What even is this complicated? What does this thing do? Okay, so a Nest Ball. Type Pokeball introduced in Gen 3 can be used to catch a wild Pokemon, being more likely to succeed against a lower level Pokemon. Interesting. So the lower the level of the Pokemon... Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. I think I've got this. There is a way to make this work. There's a way to make this work. And it's going to be... I've got it. So if it works well against lower level Pokemon and does not work at all against higher level Pokemon, here's what we need to do. We know that the resistance of a Pokemon, its essentially base DC is equal to its level. And so what this is going to be is it's going to end up as... It's going to be a plus 20 minus minus the Pokemon resistance. Okay? It is going to be a plus 20 minus the Pokemon resistance. And the reason for that is simple. So the Pokemon resistance, if we scroll up here, again, just quick refresher, is equal to their level divided by 5, rounded down. Now that means that if you have a level 4 Pokemon, the resistance is going to be 0. However, if you have a level 100 Pokemon, it's going to be 20. So, by doing this, it means that our ball will have a base of 20, we subtract its resistance, which means that against a level 100 Pokemon, it will do nothing. Nothing at all. And I put that in the wrong place, didn't I? I skipped the dive ball. That's okay. Just paste that down there. However, against a lower level Pokemon, especially if it's like level 4 or less, it's a plus 20 on your throw. You're all but guaranteed to catch the Pokemon. So I think that's great. PC says, if I catch a Meowth with that ball, can I have it use coin toss and then bring it back? Is that a net return? I don't know. I don't know what coin toss is. Alright, hold on a second. Meowth. Alright, what is coin toss? What does coin toss do? Because I feel like there might be something broken here. This is what playtesting is for. This is where we find all the exploits. Alright, I need moves. Here we go. Okay. Moves by leveling up. Fake out, growl, faint, scratch. Payday. Is it payday? Hold on, we'll look at that in a minute. Bite, taunt, assurance, furious swipe, screech, slash, nasty plot, play rough. Let's see. That's regular Meowth by leveling up. There's the Alolan Meowth. There's the Galarian Meowth. I think Payday is what you're talking about. Let's take a look. Okay, Payday. It is the signature move of Meowth in Persian. So, Payday deals damage and scatters coins on the ground. The amount of coins increases directly with the user's level. If the player wins the battle or ends a wild encounter with a move that forces the opponent to flee, such as Roar or Dragon Tail, they will pick up the scattered coins and receive the money amount. Okay, so Meowth just generates money. I feel like this could be broken. However, I do feel like I can neuter this by I can neuter it by using rules as written. It says that it forces the opponent to flee. That is very specific, meaning that you can't just sit there and camp overnight and have Meowth just use Payday over and over and over again, because if the opponent doesn't flee, then it doesn't actually pay out. So, no, it will not be an infinite money glitch. And thank God for that. I was, mildly concerned there for a minute. Okay, so, that was the nest ball. I skipped the dive ball. We're going to go back to it. As soon as I find it, where is a dive ball? There it is! Okay, a dive ball. It is 3.5 times only if diving, surfing, or fishing, or when used against a Pokemon in or on the water. Didn't we just get that with the lure ball? Yeah, the lure ball. It is a ×4 only if fishing, or ×4 if used against Pokemon in or on the water. So, yeah, it's pretty much the same. Just a little bit weaker. So, +6, but only on water. I don't know why we needed 2 balls that do basically the same thing. Okay, Repeat Ball. I actually do know what this one does. This one, you have a higher catch rate the more Pokemon you have. And where is it? Oh, it's right there. So it is a +1 or a ×1 or ×3, but only if the target has been caught previously. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. We're going to round this down. It'll be a +6. So it's a +6, but only if... Only if already caught. So there we go. And by the way, we will have to make up a Pokédex system to keep track of the stuff, because everybody will have to have some kind of Pokédex on them, which shouldn't be hard. I mean, the Pokédex in the cartoon was basically just a tablet. I can give out a tablet, it's no problem. That weighs like all of a pound. Not a big deal. And then for that, we'll just keep like a very basic spreadsheet. Well, when we pick an area, we will already be picking a Pokédex to use, because I don't see a reason why I need to custom make a Pokédex for every different area when we already have areas to play in. So we'll already have a Pokédex. We can simply copy and paste that into a very simple spreadsheet, and then my players can either keep that on their computer or they can print it off or whatever. And as soon as they have the Pokemon caught, they can just check it off. And so when using a Repeat Ball, it's a simple parity check. Did you catch it? Yes, no. If yes, +6. There you go. Now, Timer Ball. So a Timer Ball has an increased number, or an increased bonus based on how many turns. And so it's got a very complicated formula here. Gen 5 Plus, it is 1 plus the turns passed times 1,229 divided by 4,096 times, X. So it gets a maximum of 4 times at 10 turns. We are so not doing that, because that's just awful. Instead, here's what we're going to do. Timer Ball. It's going to be simply +X, and X equals the number of turns. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. And that should make that really easy. We just have to keep track of how many turns, which, you do in combat anyway. And so the more turns go by, the better your Timer Ball gets. Now, it says it caps out at 10 turns. I'm not capping this one. I'm just going to let it go. So the longer you can keep the other Pokemon occupied, the more turns you get. Which actually means that we can look at it one of two ways. We can look at it to say, oh, well, the more turns go by, the more number goes up. We can also look at this as an exhaustion mechanic. The more turns go on, the more tired the other Pokemon gets, and so once you've worn it down, it's easier to catch. Now, next, Luxury Ball. There is nothing special about a Luxury Ball. It's just nice. There are other implications for a luxury ball, but they don't necessarily apply here. Luxury balls will affect friendship, and friendship is going to be something we're going to go into, and it's going to be absolutely just terrible because it's going to be so complicated. But we'll do it. We'll make it through. Premier Ball is also just a Pokeball. You just get a free one if you buy 10. So that's a +0. Now, Dusk Balls. A Dusk Ball gives you a bonus, but only if you're inside of a cave or at night. So it's a 3.5. We're going to round that down and just say it is a +6. And I'm going to say only underground or night. Since underground is an actual biome that we can use, it's fine. PC says, but it's magic. I don't care if it's magic. They're all magic, technically. However you want to look at how you define magic. Okay, a heal ball. Now, I believe a heal ball just heals them up. It doesn't even say that. But that's okay, I'm sure it does. A heal ball, we're just looking at the catch rates here, so it's a +0. Okay, we already did Quick Ball, because that's my favorite one. Cherish Ball. Again, it's only a ×1, so it's a +0. A Park Ball. It never fails when used in a PAL park. So it's going to be nothing, but only in a PAL park. Now, I don't even know what a PAL park is, or if we even need to worry about this. So, PAL Park is a special Pokemon preserve present in the 5 Generation 4 Core Series games, located at the east end of Route 221 in Sinnoh and in Fuchsia City, in place of the Safari Zone in Kanto. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know what they're talking about now. They can call it a PAL Park, but it was the Pokemon Preserve, the reservation. Okay. Well, okay, we did the Safari Ball up here. Was that the same thing for that? Hold on. Safari Ball, it was up here. Here we go. A Safari Ball is type Pokeball introduced in Gen 1. It's used to catch a wild Pokemon during a Safari game. However, I'm looking at Gen 9. It says here in Gen 9, a special Pokeball used in locales such as the Safari Zone in the Kanto region and the Great Marsh in the Sinnoh region. Fair. So in Gen 8, see, starting in Pokemon Sword and Shield's Isle of the Armor expansion, the Safari Ball can now be obtained outside of the Safari game and used in regular wild encounters. It cannot be used in situations where the Pokeball cannot be used, such as in wild battles with 2 or more opponents currently present. If used in a trainer battle, the opposing trainer will bat the ball away, wasting the player's turn. Okay, so that's when it changed. And now it is essentially just a regular Pokeball for us. It's a relic of a previous time. Alright, so we can ignore that. Dream Ball. I'm going to guess that works on a Pokemon that's sleeping. But let's find out. A Dream Ball never fails when used in the on-tree forest. ×4 only when used against a sleeping Pokemon. Yeah. It's exactly what I thought. So times 4 is going to be a +8. And only if target is asleep. So, Gardevoir, eat your heart out. And the last one on our list is a Beast Ball. So, it is a times 5 only if used on an Ultra Beast. The hell is an Ultra Beast? It's a group of extra-dimensional Pokemon who have gone through Ultra Space. They were introduced in Sun and Moon, though some were introduced in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. There are 11 Ultra Beasts. This is pointless. We don't need this. The Beast Ball does not affect us at all. So we can get rid of that. All right. And with that, we've got all the modifiers for the Pokeballs. Are there any that we're, missing? I'm going to go through this list. Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, Master Ball, Safari Ball, Love Ball, Lure Ball, Moon Ball, dumb as it is. Friend Ball, Love Ball, Heavy Ball, Fast Ball, Sport Ball, Net Ball, Nest Ball, Repeat, Timer, Premier, Luxury, Dive, Dusk, Quick, Heal, Cherish, Park, Dream, and Beast. No, we got all of them. Alright, so, with that being the case, is there anything else that we need to do here for the catching system? I don't think that there is. I think that everything's going to work pretty well. So we've got your DCs here, we know how to hit them, and if you've got a really good or really appropriate ball, plus maybe 1 or 2 badges, you should be able to catch pretty much anything. And that's going to work out pretty well. Now, finding high-level Pokemon is going to be a bit of a challenge, because I'm going to be using a weighted table for generating Pokemon in general. So finding a level 100 Pokemon is going to be pretty rare. It also means that, it'll be weighted towards the bottom, so you always find more lower-level Pokemon. But it means that you could find, level 20-ish Pokemon, right out the gate. Which would be bad for you, but it's okay. Because I don't award experience based on, how many creatures you've slain or whatever. Like the book tells you to do. I award based on encounters and whether you survive them. I personally do not care how you survive any encounter. Any encounter you can walk away from, you've won. And so if you win it through direct combat, great, you get XP. If you win it through stealth and subterfuge, you still get XP. If you ran away, you might get a little bit less XP, but you'll still get some XP because, hey, you survived. That's how experience works. People who are dead don't get experience. People who are alive do. So I'll have the ability to roll these up. And it's gonna be based on the same thing right here. So level 100 will only be a one face chance to do it. Level 99 will be a 2 chance. 98 will be a 3 chance. 97 will be a 4 chance, and so on. So by the time we get down to level 100, there will be a 100 chance to get it. But also, you got to keep in mind that if we're looking at a 100 chance here, 99, 98, 97, it's going to be a very, very large number. And there's a way to calculate that, and I don't remember what or how you do it. And if I had access to ChatGPT right now, I could probably ask it how to do that. Actually, I do have access. I can ask it right now. Hold on a second. I can do this. I just have to use my phone to do it. So let me just pull up the ChatGPT. what is the sum of the numbers 1 through 100? It may even tell me what the formula is. The sum of all integers 1 through 100 can be found using the formula for an arithmetic series. Its sum equals n over 2 times a1 plus an, where n is 100, a1 is the first item, and an is 100. So we fill that in. The answer is 5,050. So yeah, there you go. It will be a D5050 roll. Obviously, we're using virtual dice for that. But because of that, it's going to be weighted more towards the bottom end, which is going to be very useful. It also means, though, that once you actually get into the higher levels, according to the way that most games would work, you would get less XP for the lower level ones. I don't do that. I give full XP regardless. A one fight is a one fight. So yeah, the catch rates will all be based on those levels. Those levels will determine the resistance, and then it's how many badges you have plus whatever ball you decide to throw. Should be fine. A real question I think that we need to answer, though... Actually, no, I don't think I need to answer that. No, actually, we do need to answer that. Like, how many Pokeballs can you have equipped at any given time? Because in the game, you are just allowed to pick whichever Pokeball you need for the appropriate encounter. In the game that we're playing, though, you only have 2 hands. And so, how do we know what ball you have equipped, and do you need to find the other one? I could use the same rules that we have for retrieving a Pokemon. I'm not sure. I gotta think about that one for a little bit. I'll think about that. And we'll make a decision on that later. Otherwise, though, with that being done, we're done with the catching system. I think it's gonna work well. Okay, so what was next on the list? Like I said, catching system not gonna take all day. Instead, we're gonna move on and we're gonna look at items. Now, this is something that I do not expect to spend a lot of time on, because I think that most everything that we go into is going to be self-explanatory. JP just says, woohoo! Fair enough. Okay, so, items. It's an object in Pokemon games which a player can pick up, keep in their bag, or use in some manner. They have various uses, including healing, powering up, helping one to catch Pokemon, or accessing new areas. It's also been referred to as an item, yeah. So, looking into items, is there anything that we need to do here? Obtaining items, you can obtain items in lots of different ways. I don't care how we do it, doesn't matter. Item ball images, sure. Hidden items, you can just find things sometimes. Recurring items, fake items, item types. Okay, here's something we should look at. Item types. So the items pocket contains all items that are not put into another pocket. Some items in the items pocket are below. Escape items provide an easy escape from a wild Pokemon. We may need to look into those. I mean, what does it even mean to escape a Pokemon in our situation? Do we even need the escape items? Because in a Pokemon game, once you are in the battle, you are essentially locked into this arena, and that's just it. You're locked into this arena, so you need this escape item to get out. For our purposes, though, we're not in an arena. We are in the open. You're going to be on the road, or in a forest, or on a beach, or something like that. You are not locked into or bound to stay in this area, and you are more than free to leave it whenever you like. The same way that you can flee any normal combat in any other tabletop game. Now, whether you can flee or not comes down to whether or not you have the physical ability to escape. You can run, they can chase. And so then we get into actual chase rules. And yes, by the way, we have chase rules. They're down here under variants and right here, chases. So while chases are a signature action seen in countless stories, they present a singular challenge in this game thanks to static movement rates. Since every creature in the game has a set movement rate, it might seem like you'd either automatically or never catch up to a fleeing foe. Obviously this is not the case because there's more to catching a foe or avoiding being caught than simple speed. And so we have to build a chase. To simulate a chase, we need a little prep work. It takes about 10 small pieces of paper, pieces the size of playing cards, sticky notes work perfectly. These are chase cards, they represent the chase route, like the route in a board game. Using 10 cards works well, and what I can do in Roll20 is I simply just grab all the tokens on the field and move them to the side. And that's super simple. Or we just don't do that regardless. However, there are chase obstacles. We can run the chase. And so it says right here, using the base assumption of 30-foot cards, it takes a move action to move through a single card. When a character exits from the card, they must choose one of the card's 2 obstacles to face the standard action before moving on to the next card. Success means they move on to the card. Failure means that they must face the obstacle again the next round. And that's fine. Essentially, though, what we would do here is... that's for, like, an actual chase sequence. If you're actually trying to flee something, you would be running. And so we can come down here to combat. Right, it's under game mastering. I know what I'm doing. Combat and movement. Movement, position, and distance. Or do I want move actions? No, actually I probably want full round actions. Run, here we go. Okay, running. So you can run as a full round action, and if you're fleeing from a fight, you're going to be running. If you do, you do not also get a 5-foot step because you don't get a 5-foot step when you take full round action usually. When you run, you can move up to 4 times your speed in a straight line or 3 times your speed if you're in heavy armor. You lose any dex bonus to AC unless you have the run feat. You can run for a number of rounds equal to your Constitution score, but after that you must make a DC 10 Constitution check to continue running. You must check again each round you continue to run, and the DC increases by 1 for each check you have made. When you fail this check, you must stop running. A character who has this run, or who has their run, or has run to their limit must words, can't use them. A character who has run to his limit must rest for 1 minute, 10 rounds before running again. During the rest period, they can move no faster than a normal move action. So essentially what would happen is this. We don't need escape items, because if you wanted to flee, you would simply run. At which point, the first thing that we're going to check is that Constitution. You can run a number of rounds equal to your Constitution score, which means that if the Pokemon behind you has a lower Constitution score than you pretty much automatically outrun it. Which is great. I mean, unless it can move faster than you, there's more to it. But all other things being equal, if it has a lower Constitution score than you, you're going to outrun it. Failing that, if it has a higher Constitution score, then you have to start making checks. And whoever fails first loses the chase. And if you lose the chase, obviously you are thrown back into combat, and if they lose the chase, then you escape. It's actually pretty simple. It's actually kind of fun, believe it or not. Is it mechanically deep? No, not really. However, it's great for role-playing. Chases are fun. So we don't really need the escape items. Evolution items, again, are pretty self-explanatory. I don't think that's something we need to do. The evolution items are going to be things like stones or plants or whatever that the Pokemon need to evolve. You just shove the rock inside of them and they turn into something else. I don't think there's anything we need to do there. Valuable or exchangeable items. It's just loot. It's treasure. Flutes. I have no idea. So flutes were introduced in Gen 3. There are 5 types of flutes, each of a different color. From Gen 7 onward, they do not appear in the game, which means they're no longer a problem. No flutes. Fossils may be revived into Pokemon. I don't even know if we have them in Gen 9, do we? No, apparently we do. No, it introduces no new fossils. Oh, PC says, I insist that you play the Benny Hill theme during a chase. I think I can acquiesce to that. Anyway, Gen 9 introduces no new fossils, and Pokemon Scarlet, similar to the Gen 2, does not allow the player to obtain or revive any fossils. However, I don't think that's really the most important thing. I think that fossils are fossils. You can find fossils pretty much anywhere you go. So I'm inclined to allow fossils to remain in the game. And that means that we can have a box for them. You're not going to buy them. You have to find them, but sure. Mulch can be used to grow berries in some games. Sure, I guess, whatever. Repels. Now, here's something interesting. A repel. So, the effect. Here we go. So, it has the same effect as a Super Repel or Max Repel for the duration of 100 steps. When used from the bag, it prevents certain wild Pokemon from appearing. In Gen 1 through Gen... Oh, and from Gen 6 onwards, it applies to wild Pokemon with a lower level than the first member of the party. In Gen 2 to 5, it applies to wild Pokemon with a lower level than the first non-fainted member of the party. Okay, so basically anything lower than you will leave you alone. This is a thing that's going to stay in the game. Now, I will be able to randomly generate any Pokemon that I need. And believe me, I will do so. Should I have an encounter planned, however, and somebody in the party decides they're going to use a repel, I can simply treat that encounter as if it were skipped. Which kind of sucks, don't get me wrong, but the fact is that if somebody wants to use a repel, I can do that. And the players would never know the difference because they wouldn't have known that it was coming in the first place. I think this works. I don't think there's anything we have to change there. Rules as written. And this is why we're going through these, because I don't know how much work we actually have to do when it comes to these items. Scents increase a Pokemon's friendship. They only appear in Colosseum and Pokemon XD, so we can ignore those. Then we get into held items. So, incense influences a Pokemon produced by breeding. Okay, fair enough. I have not gone into breeding. I need to add that to the list. Pokemon breeding. Okay, it's on there. Gems boost the power of a move a particular type 1 time. Again, though... So... Where is it? Does it tell me how much it boosts them? There are 18 types of gems that correspond with 18 different types. Only one at a time. Or one time only a hell gem boosts power of its damaging move with the corresponding type. Ah, here we go. So, if a Pokemon holding a gem uses a damaging move of a corresponding type, that move's power is boosted by 30%, 50% in Gen 5. This also consumes the gem. And JP says, produced by breeding, as opposed to... what? Look, I'm not getting involved in this. You have the internet. Go look it up. Okay, the gems, I don't feel like I need to do anything with. It's a power boost. So 30%, we can just take whatever is rolled and just put it in the calculator and say whatever you rolled times 1.3. It's fine. We can leave that as is. Choice items boost a particular skill. That's fine. Power items such as additional effort values but decrease the holder's speed while held. Sure, it's a training value. Okay. I'm going to have to add something in here. If we're going to do Pokemon breeding, I think I'm going to have to go into EVs while we're at it. Because training a Pokemon, like actually training a Pokemon... Well, no. Actually, I don't think that I need to do that. And I'll tell you the reason why. So the way EVs work... At least my understanding of how EVs work, and I kind of wish that either Blizz or Alden was here, because I am not nearly qualified enough to go through this. But the way EVs work is that when your Pokemon levels up, they get something called an EV, or an effort value. And this can raise certain stats. So this is where the actual training part of Pokemon comes in. Because it's not just a matter of, oh, I'm going to take my Pokemon out there and I'm going to level up. That's how I would play. That's how most normal people would play. However, the people who take this Pokemon stuff seriously actually do train and breed their Pokemon to create literal genetically superior strains. Now, what do I mean by that? Every Pokemon has a certain number of values. Okay, these are their stats, okay? It's power, strength, hit points, speed, etc., etc., etc. Now, when a Pokemon is bred, it is going to transfer some of those stats to the new Pokemon, or the new egg. Now, how exactly it does that, I don't actually know, because breeding is super complicated. Breeding is complicated in real life. Okay, breeding is complicated in real life, and the people who do breeding, they spend so much time and money on doing this. For our part, we don't have to do that, but we will have to have a way for traits to be passed down from generation to generation. Now, how does that affect things? Well, if you were to take a Pokemon and you were to actually train it, and I mean that you're training the EVs for, say, power. The higher the power, the higher the power for that Pokemon gets, when you breed it, it will be able to pass on a higher level power score to the new generation. At which point you're going to take that one and you're going to raise up its power stat again, as well as some of its other stats, and you're going to continuously breed better stock. And that's where the EVs come in. Now, why am I explaining this, and why do I think that the EVs may not be important to me? Well, if we come over here to the Pokemon conversion module, one of the things that I put together over here is this points column. So every Pokemon has a base stat, okay? And for this Aegislash, the base stats were 140, 60, 60, 140, 50, and 50. We divided those all by 10, and so we've got 14, 6, 6, 14, 5, 5. All right, that's great. Fantastic. I love it. But when they level up, they get boosts to their skills. Now, when they level up, every Pokemon is different, and every Pokemon has one stat that they're really good at training and one stat that they're really bad at training. So, like, you'll get a web chart, and on that web chart, you'll see the peaks and valleys of all their different stats, and you'll see that one has a plus, one has a minus. Those two will either go up or down faster than the rest of the normal ones. For our cases, though, I don't want to have to track that, and so what I did is I gave the point system. You will get 1 point every time you level up to put into one of your ability scores. And so you will be able to raise those scores however you like. This is essentially what EVs are. So EVs would allow you to train up whatever you want, and if you wanted to put like all of your training into speed, in our case dexterity, then sure, you could have a 50 in dexterity and be an absolute speed demon with 0 other abilities. I mean, yes, your Pokemon would have an absolutely godlike evasion. But at the same time, what are you going to hit him back with? Now, to a certain degree, that's not going to matter too much, because the amount of power that is dealt by the moves is already kind of set. Unless we have to go back and redo that, and I don't really want to. But a move is set by its power, and like Tackle here is a 40 power move, so it's going to do 1d40. And so that's how that's going to work. Now, the only other way that I can think of to change that would be to tie that to their actual power stat, which would be strength or intelligence, and to increase the number of dice that they get based on, say, that bonus. But that would get more complicated, and I'm not too crazy about overcomplicating this. Who knows, though? It might be important. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we do the play testing, because this is going to have to be extensively play tested. I do mean extensively play tested. There may be some major reworks in the future. But the point is, though, that you can train up whatever stat you want to make them just absolutely godlike in one thing at the cost of others. So our EVs are already built in. You don't need to use an item or anything else like that. You can just pick what goes up when they level up. So we don't need to worry about that. That was the power items. Next is going to be Scarves. Scarves boost the Pokemon's conditions during contests. We don't need to worry about that, I don't think. I can do that, but sure. Mega Stones, we're not doing Mega Evolutions. Same with Z Crystals for Z moves. Plates. Plates boost the power of moves of a particular type and can change Arceus's form and its type, or the type of signature move Judgment. Well, obviously Arceus is not something that we need to worry about. However, I see no reason to exclude plates because they just boost a certain type of move. Oh, and PC Unicorn commented when we were talking about EVs, make peanut butter the ultimate Bidoof. I mean, you can make the ultimate whatever you want. The more ridiculous, I guess, the better. Drives change the type of Genesect signature move Techno Blast. Well, I mean, If you had a gen sect, I guess, sure, but if there's no gen sect in the game, then there's no drives. The same thing is true with memories. They changed Savali's form and type. Not really required for us. Pokeballs. Pokeballs have their own pocket. Mail. It's mail. Whatever. If you want mail, get a mailbox. Battle items. Now, this is something that's going to be kind of... we have to think about this one a little bit. We have HP restoring, condition status, healing items, revives, ethers, herbal medicines, vitamins, and ability capsules. Okay. HP restoring items. Potions. I was going to look at a regular potion for right now. So, a regular potion. When used from the bag on a Pokemon, it heals 20 hit points. That's actually fantastic. It's got a solid number that we can use. It's going to heal 20 hit points. Great. We can do. Hyper Potion. Let's see. Hyper Potion heals 120 hit points. Perfect. There's nothing we need to do for these. There's no weird fractions or decimals or anything like that for us to work on. Status condition healing items. Things like antidotes, awakenings. This is rules as written, because whatever it is just going to cure whatever the condition is. If you're poisoned, an antidote will fix it. If you're burned, a burned heal will remove it. This is simple. There's nothing we need to do there. Revives, same thing. I don't think we need it. Ethers, max ethers, elixirs, max elixirs. These record or restore a Pokemon's points, so that's fine. Herbal medicines cure various afflictions, but decrease a Pokemon's friendship if used. Again, we're going to have to go ahead and get into the whole friendship mechanic there. Vitamins and feathers can permanently increase a Pokemon's stats. Okay. So a vitamin is a type in the Pokemon games that are used to boost the stats, points, or level of a trainer's Pokemon. Most vitamins are named after real minerals and organic compounds important to body health. Okay, so effect. In all core series since Gen 3, the vitamins will affect the stat increase of Pokemon EVs for a given stat by 10 EV points, but cannot increase the total EVs beyond the maximum of 510. Between generations 3 to 7, vitamins also have no effect on an individual's stat that is already has 100 or more EVs. Prior to Gen 3, the effort values were based on a system of stat experience. And vitamins increase the stat by 2560 EV points, but could only be used until the stat had 25,600 EVs. Okay, that's a little ridiculous. So what I'm gathering here is that we could use the vitamins to just kind of generate more EV points, but if the EV points are the ability points that we're giving, we need a limit, or we need to simply remove vitamins. I'm actually inclined to remove vitamins, mostly because Pokemon are going to be strong enough as it is. And you'll be able to kind of customize how strong you want your Pokemon to be in certain things. I don't necessarily think that we want to have the vitamins in there. And PC says, what are you injecting that Pokemon with? Vitamins. Yes, that joke. It's a funny joke. I kind of don't want to deal with these. I mean, I really just don't want to deal with these. Like, I can get breeding and everything, but, oh, this is hard. This is super hard. And it's super hard because I don't know necessarily what the maximum needs to be. So, for example, I'm going to come back to our Pokemon conversion over here. Because if I wanted to spread everything equally, actually, here, let me inject a couple of things here, because I've got this level 100 Venusaur, and we're going to do something with it. So insert column. Okay. This is going to be base, points, and total. There we go. Okay. And I need to look up the base stats. Base stats in Gen 6. Or not Gen 6, Gen 9. Here we go. So, Venusaur. Not the Mega Venusaur, just Venusaur. Okay. We're going to look at this and we're going to say, all right, so base stats, I'm going to go ahead and delete these. The base stats for Venusaur is going to be HP is 80. It's going to be an 8. Attack is 82. It's going to be an 8. Defense is going to be 83. Defense is Wisdom, so also 8. Special attack is 100, so that's going to be a 10. No, just 10, not 100. Special defense is 100. And speed is 8. So there we go. Now, we have here a level 100 Venusaur, which means that we have 100 points to spend. Now, in theory, I could go ahead and just put all those 100 points into something. I think that would be a generally bad idea, but it's something that we could do. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just divide them evenly to take a look at this. So I did this before. 100 divided by 6 is 16. Technically 16.6 repeating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 16 times 6 is 96. So I could put 16 in each, and then I have 4 extras. And I know where I'll put my 4 extras. I'll put them into my lower stats. So this is going to be 17, 17, 17, 17, 16, and 16. And so if I go ahead and just add these up, 17 plus 8 is going to be 25. And 10 plus 16 is going to be 26. Which I think is roughly what we had before. Maybe. I'm not sure anymore. Point is that, though, that's what our stats are going to look like. So 25s, 26s, we're good. But what is the maximum? Like, at what point can we just no longer make them better? And how do we manage this? Because I don't necessarily want to take it away, but we need to find a way to balance it. We need to find a way to balance this. Because this is what they're going to get automatically. I mean, this is just straight up leveling. Do we want to have a maximum value? Because if I didn't have a maximum value, I could delete these. And what if I just said, because intelligence is my special attack, I want to have the greatest solar beam ever. What if I just put 100 points here? My total then becomes 110. What does that do to our game? Well, we know for starters that we're not getting any constitution bonus for HP, but then again, our HP, without any kind of constitution bonus, can still be well over 1,000. And so that's not exactly a huge, that's not a huge problem for us. This is very complicated. How do we make this work? I feel like we might have missed something when we were doing this conversion, and we failed to make these numbers like actually meaningful. Because a lot of these are meaningful in terms of like a straight up, knockdown, drag out fight. Because all of these stats are going to make all of these things appear better. Like, if our Venusaur here has a plus 25 in all of these things, then technically its melee damage up here should be 1d12 plus, let's see, 20 is 5, 22 is 6, 24 is 7. So this would actually be a 1d12 plus 7. And that's great. That's a really, really good hit for, just, swiping somebody with a claw. But when you compare that to something like a solar beam, it's not all that great. We need to look at, like, what do these values really do, and why do we even want to train them? This just got a lot more complicated, and I think we're going to have to go back and revisit moves. And I hate having to go back and revisit moves, but the EVs are going to force my hand on this one. Because what's the point of training up EVs if they don't matter? What's the point? So I think where we stand right now is we're either going to do one of two things. Number one is we basically nix the entire training and breeding system. Because if we take out EVs and we can't train up our Pokemon to really improve their stats, then we also similarly do not need the breeding system. Because, well, why would we? The only reason then to breed would be to get more of any Pokemon that you already have. And that's only really useful if you're intending on, like, selling Pokemon. Which is fine, sure, and I'm on board with that, but I don't need to make a mechanical system for that. That's just really simple. You put two Pokemon in one place together, turn off the lights, play a little soft jazz, and boom, you get an egg. In order to make it meaningful, I would need to go back and redo the moves, because we need to go back and redo these and say, what do these mean for us? And when I say, what do these mean for us, I mean that we have to go back and say, like, Tackle. Tackle here does 1d40 damage because it's a 40 power move. Okay, and it was the easiest way to do this. Instead, the better way to do it would be to, say, use... I'm going to spitball something here. Okay? We already have it set up here where your Pokemon have a die based on their stage. So if it's a 3-stage Pokemon at stage 1, it does 1d4. And at stage 2, it does 1d8. At stage 3, it does 1d12. What if a Pokemon were to do 1 die for each of its bonuses? So, for example, Venusaur knows Tackle. Of course, Venusaur knows Tackle. It's known Tackle forever. And so it's going to go ahead and use Tackle. Well, the bonus for Strength is a +7. And because of that, it would roll 7d4s. Well, actually, no, it would not roll 7d4s because that would be for a Bulbasaur. A Bulbasaur at level 100 could roll that many. Venusaur would be rolling d12s because, well, it's a stage 3 Pokemon, and stage 3 Pokemon get d12s. So, a Venusaur would be rolling 7d12s. But here's the problem with that. What then makes Tackle different from, say, I don't know, Rollout? Because Rollout has a higher power, and it's going to double in power. Every single time it's used, so how does that make them different? Because now both moves are essentially just the same. We have to use the power from the move and the power from Strength together. We need to figure something out. Gotta figure something out here. Actually, I just had a thought. Here. So, the numbers don't care. I mean, as far as the moves are concerned, one number is as good as another. As far as your hit points are concerned, one number is as good as another. The numbers don't actually care. What if we were to actually use that D4, D8, and D12 as our damage dice? Okay, what if we did that? And what if we just started adjusting the number of dice? So what if we did this? Okay, stick with me here. Because this is going to get a little interesting. So, what if this was no longer a damage? Okay, what if it was no longer a damage? What if instead we were to change this over here to a bonus dice? Okay? What if we change this to a bonus dice? That means that we could delete this, okay? And the bonus dice will be equal to... This is going to be equal to the power divided by 10, round down. Okay, now stick with me here. That means that for tackle here, bonus dice. Tackle is a power 40 move. 40 divided by, 4, or divided by 10 is going to be 4. All right, fine. So what does that mean for us? That means that our little Bulbasaur here, okay, we're going to take the little Bulbasaur here, level 1. Level 1, it gets Tackle. Its attack value is only 49. We're going to round it down to 4, because we always round down. You don't get the credit until you actually reach the 0. With an attack power of 4, Bulbasaur's strength is 0. And so Bulbasaur will get no benefits from its strength. So how much damage then does normal tackle do? Normal tackle is then going to do 4d, and we're going to look back here at the dice. Okay, at stage 1, it's going to be 4d d4s. 4d4. Which means that instead of a Bulbasaur being able to throw out 40 points of damage against anything else that only has like 4 hit points, it's only going to be doing, 1d16. Now, what does that mean for us? That means that before we did this, if you had 2 identical Pokemon at level 1, each one of them has 4 hit points, there was a 12? 40. Okay, I don't know exactly what the math is. But there was a very, very low chance that the Pokemon would actually survive it. If we do this, we get to drop down the damage considerably so that Tackle only does a maximum of 16 damage, which means that there is a... not 75... There's an 80% chance that it knocks them out, but like a 20% chance... Well, no, actually less than that. Because there's a guarantee of 1. It's like there's a 10% chance or so that they survive it, which is, better. It's getting better. It also means, however, that Tackle's going to go up in usefulness as you level up. So a Tackle used by a Bulbasaur would do 4d4. The Tackle used by a Venusaur would do 4d12. We've gone from 16 to 48 damage, which is very deserving. Very deserving for a Venusaur. Now, we were building a Geodude over here, I think. And a Geodude is another 3-stage. But let's take a look at this rollout. So rollout does 1d30. But we're going to change this. Since it was a power 30 move, it's going to be a bonus dice of 3. Okay? However, we are going to double the power every turn. We're going to rewrite this and say we're going to double the bonus dice every turn. So, we're no longer doing 1d30, 1d60, 1d120, 1d240, etc., etc., etc. Now, we're going to be doubling the bonus dice, which means that if a Geodude was using it, it would be d4s and it would start off as 3d4. That's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. And against a lower level Pokemon, that'll do fine. However, if we're going to double the bonus dice every single turn, it's going to be 3d4, 6d4, 12d4, 24d4, and it's going to finish off at 48d4. 48d4 is insane. I don't even know what that number is. 48 times 2 is 96. 96 times 2 is 100... Wait, hold on. 192. It is a maximum damage output of 192. You know, not including all the damage that was done beforehand. I think this is better. Now, why is this better? This is better because now that we've changed this into the number of dice that we're affecting, it gives us a reason to actually change things. So, for example, getting back to our Venusaur. Getting back to our Venusaur example. So we spread all of our points here evenly. And as such, we have a +7 in strength, a +7 in dexterity, a +7 in constitution, a +8 in intelligence, a +7 in wisdom, and a +8 in charisma. What does this mean for us? This means that when Venusaur goes to use tackle, it's going to be getting, or tackle is going to do 4d12 damage, but those are bonus dice. By default, Venusaur is going to be doing 7d12 damage with this move, plus the bonus dice of the move. So 7 plus 4 is going to be 11. Tackle. The lowest level move there would be doing 11d12 damage. And if I put that into a calculator, it makes a happy face. Actually, it says 132. It's 132 damage maxed out. And 132 maxed out damage to a Pokemon that only has, maybe, at the highest, 1,000 hit points. That is 10% of its hit points. Which means that if we were maxing out these values, hell, even if we're averaging out these values because we average the damage and we average the hit points, we are talking about a Pokemon battle that may only last roughly 10 turns. And 10 turns is an entirely reasonable Pokemon battle. That's really good, actually. But now, I want to test the extreme. So what if we didn't do this? What if we said there's no upper limit, okay? No upper limits. Where is Solar Beam? Okay, where is Solar Beam? Here it is, Solar Beam. Solar Beam is a power 120 move, okay? And it's a beam, which means that it gets to hit multiple targets. We're going to go ahead and we're going to assume that these values are maxed out, okay? So we're going to come down here and we're going to delete these. And we're going to go ahead and say that we're putting all of our points into intelligence. And so that the final score for our Venusaur is 110 intelligence. That's a special attack. Now, Solar Beam is a special move, and so it's going to be using intelligence for its dice. What is the bonus for 110? Let's look that up. This is going to be the last thing we do today, because we're out of time. But basics and ability scores, here we go. Now, these numbers only go up to 45, which is a +17. We're going to have to keep going. Since we're going to get a, here's how we're going to do this. 110. That's our number. Now, obviously, you get no bonus for anything 10 to 11. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10, which leaves us with 100. Since you get a +1 every 2 points, I think we can accurately just divide that by 2, and say that's going to be a plus 50. Okay, plus 50. The intelligence is going to give us 50 damage dice. That is 50 d12. And then, because Solar Beam is a power 120 move, we'll divide that by 10. That gives us 12. And so our Solar Beam on our completely min-maxed Munchkined Venusaur would do 62 d12 on the Solar Beam. I'm going to roll those dice. 62 d12. And remember, it's a beam. It hits everything in the path and everyone has to make a reflex save for half. Come on, it's only 62 dice, you can do this. Okay, so our maxed out Bulbasaur is going to use Solar Beam, and Solar Beam just did 390 damage. Which is ridiculous. 390 damage. Keep in mind that if you're doing damage to a structure or an object, the first thing that you do is you halve the damage. Now, that's normal damage. I think if it's energy damage, you actually quarter it. But I'm not sure off the top of my head, and I'm not going to look it up right now. 390 damage, though. If you had a Pokemon with maxed out HP, if you have a Pokemon with maxed out HP, and they have over 1,000 HP, this Solar Beam just took out more than a quarter of it. As a matter of fact, it almost took out half of it. And so this is why I bring up the ability to put the numbers where you want and to kind of be your own EV. It's going to allow you to build your Pokemon the way you want to build your Pokemon. Every single level. If you wanted to have a one-shot cannon, then there you go. Here's Bulbasaur. I don't know how you get much better than this. The downside, of course, though, is that Bulbasaur literally just put all of its points into this. Which means, technically speaking, we are getting no bonuses to anything physical. Bulbasaur wants to use Vine Whip? Okay. No, not that. Or Power Whip? Okay. Power Whip is 12 damage dice. Plus your strength. Bulbasaur doesn't have any strength. So it's going to be 12d12. Is it still powerful? Sure. But it could be a lot more powerful. You get what I'm saying here. Not to mention that Bulbasaur here has no defense. Or not Bulbasaur, Venusaur here has no defense. So it's up to you to make the best of your Pokemon to make them the best they can be. Do you want to prioritize defense? Do you want to prioritize speed? What's it going to be? Either way, it's up to you to do. So I don't think we need to do the EVs. And JP says, let's see. Actually, JP's got a couple of comments in there. JP said, Balefire will always be my favorite beam. It's not a beam, it's a bar. It was specifically described as a bar of light. Although, yes, it was actually a beam. And Balefire is pretty cool. There's nothing better than not just destroying something, but erasing it from time. And JPL says, I thought you said boneless. No, I didn't say boneless. Do Venusaurs have bones? I don't even know now. Anyway, though, I'm running long. It's fine. I actually started this when I was late. But we're going to go ahead and we're take a break here. When we pick up next time, I was going to do Friendship. I was going to do Friendship or Evolution, but I'm thinking the next time we're going to take on Breeding. Because since we're back to working with the base stats and the base numbers, I think we need to kind of revisit these. And I think we need to establish, what do the numbers do? How are we going to boost them? And then how we're going to pass them on. So maybe like we'll do EVs first and then breeding. And then we can get into friendship and evolution and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's how we're going to work it. Best thing I can suggest. But that's where we're going to stop today. We did good stuff. We did good work today. We did good work today. Especially since neither Blizzard nor Alden were here. I was alone. I had to do all this myself. That's alright. I feel good about it. Anyway, though, we'll pick it up next week. If you want to see that, if you want to see exactly what we get worked on, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon that we get notified every time these videos come out. If you know somebody else who's also into Pokemon, tabletop games, Starfinder, Pathfinder, all that stuff, then share this with them. If you want to leave a like in the video, do that. I love likes. Likes are the best. I mean, anybody who is on YouTube is by nature a narcissist, and narcissists run on likes. So, more likes, please. Otherwise, though, once you do that, you want to leave a comment, you can do that. Better yet, if you're not going to leave a comment, join the Discord. Comment there instead. And if you join the Discord, go to the Behind the Screen channel. Let me know what games you want to play, what your availability is. If you're interested, we can start playing games together. Because I can always use more players. I need more players. Come play with me. So, I hope to see you in the Discord. I hope to see you in the next game. I hope to see you next week for the stream. And until then, take care.